What's going on, guys? It's GBP, baby. Welcome back to the only channel on YouTube giving you this much precision in the markets every single day. Now I'm going to get straight into things. For all you new viewers, like if you're new to the channel, make sure you go and watch yesterday's video or the day before that's video or the day before that's video, because you'll be able to see the kind of precision elements that I've been applying using ICT concepts. And yeah, this week's going absolutely swimmingly. So you know what? Let's give ourselves a round of applause, because I haven't seen precision like this in a while. And let's get straight into things. So we've got the daily dollar, and you can see this is delivery on dollar. We traded up just below the 50% level of Tuesday's wick, up to the quarter level. And then you can see we traded lower just as anticipated, running out Tuesday's low as well, also just as anticipated. So you can see that we're starting to push now into this volume imbalance that I have my eye set on. And moving into the new day, into Thursday and Friday, I do want to see continued distribution to the downside. So I'd like to think that we can start to trade deeper into this range. And I am going to be looking at taking out Monday's low and also trading down into the 50% level of Friday's wick. So I'm going to get this marked out first. This is consequent encroachment. I'm going to be watching how price treats that when we get to that level. And then another thing I want to bring our attention to is going to be this level down here. Ooh. So I am watching this imbalance because I do believe price may want to refer back down to that. So first, obviously, I want to see Monday's low get taken. Then I'd be looking at the midpoint of Friday's wick, and then I'd be looking at this level to get traded to. Obviously, we have this massive weekly fair value gap. Whether price reaches there or not, that's another story. We do have high impact news, so it very well could. But generally speaking, I'm expecting lower prices. And what does that mean? If I'm expecting lower prices, that means I want to see the high get made in London. And I'd like to think that we can distribute to the downside moving throughout the rest of the day. So here's the 4-hour chart. Absolutely beautiful day today. We traded higher up to a level which I brought your attention to in yesterday's video, but I'll speak more on that when we get to the lower time frames. You can see we left that daily fair value gap. You see we've now closed outside of it, which is nice to see. Came down, grabbed those sell stops, and I'd like to think that we can anticipate a continuation to the downside. If we drop down to the 1 hour, you'll see that level. Will we see that level? No, we're not going to see that level on this time frame, but you can see we traded up into this bearish order block right here, turned around on the dime, again breaking market structure right here. As soon as that candle closed below there, we traded back up into the breaker. That's the last down close candle. So right here, I'll just show you more specifically. Traded up into that breaker, and then look what happened. Price traded away. Yes, we traded into it twice, but price eventually delivered down, grabbed those sell stops, and we're just kind of rebounding off of that right now. So very beautiful price action. We can go to the 15-minute, and what you'll find is this low here. This is the breaker on the upside, because we have a high, a low, a higher high, and then price broke to the downside. And I was saying watch this level, as price is going to want to return to it. If you haven't seen yesterday's video, go and watch it. But I was calling out this exact level, and look at that. You can't get more precise than that. Obviously, it's not perfection, but I did say, and I did state in yesterday's video, price is likely going to want to turn at that point. Exactly what we saw. It ran lower very beautifully, came back into the range, and then continued to make its way into that sell side liquidity before grabbing those sell stops. So now that those sell stops are grabbed, we can anticipate some kind of retracement, as in pull back into the range. But where specifically? Well, we can go up to the higher time frame now. I am going to go to the 4 hour, and yeah, I do want to see a continuation to the downside, to be honest. I do believe price is going to want to push lower. Moving into the new day, let's take a look. I'll go into the 1 hour. So I am looking at this bearish order block now. This bearish order block should continue to provide resistance. I would like to think that if we do manage to trade back up to there, we will get the resistance we need to continue to push price lower. If we go down to the 15-minute, we should be able to better see. We've got a nice consolidation right here. So as far as I'm concerned, price should struggle. If price is going to go any higher than this, it should struggle to get through here. As in, I don't really want to see price trade through any of this. If it does, so let's say we do trade through it, that means that I've got to start looking at this daily fair value gap again and start thinking about, trading quite aggressively higher. But other than that, I think price should continue to behave pretty weak and run down towards that consequent encroachment I was talking about on the daily, with a potential reach for that imbalance. Now there is technically a breaker as well. Why? We've got a high, a low, a higher high, and then now we broke to the downside. So I'm looking at this range as well, from this high to this low. Yes, we're currently in that range, But again, preferably I'd like to think that price will continue to respect this range, as in I don't really want to see us come back into this daily fair value gap, and I'd like to think that we can start seeing some more aggressive push into the downside. Furthermore, we do now have sell side liquidity residing below these two lows. So you can see we've got relative equal lows below here, and obviously all these stops. There's going to be lots of sell stops residing below there. So again, price is going to want to draw down into that. Now depending on how weak we are, we very well could go into the Asian session and literally fall right out of the Asian session, moving lower without us necessarily doing a sweep higher. What do I mean by that? Well, if we look at Wednesday's day, so let me just mark out midnight from here until the end of the day, which is going to be here. So you'll see we sweeped higher, right? We traded higher first, and then we came to the downside, and now we're coming back to equilibrium. Classic price action. What I'm saying is that depending on how a weak dollar is, price may not need to do this initial sweep higher, because I saw this level and anticipated price to sweep up to that. In this case, in this circumstance, price doesn't necessarily need to do that, because I'd like to think that we can just continue lower and continue falling, running towards these lows from Friday. Now, my ultimate goal is Friday's low. I would like to think that we can get there. That's another reason I'd like to think that in the new day, price will just continue to, drop lower aggressively and start running towards the sell stop. So definitely got my eyes on lower prices. And like I said, I'm not really anticipating much of a sweep. You can see kind of relative equal highs forming. Let me see on the 1 hour again. But generally speaking, I will be watching this order block, this bearish order block, to provide the resistance we need. So we can trade into that. So long as we continue to respect this bearish order block, I'm happy to be short on dollar. Another thing as well, we do have an imbalance here. We can drag those imbalances out, and you can see how price treats these levels. So again, price may want to wick up there into this order block and trade lower. But should be all good. Let's go to GBP USD. We're going to go on the daily. Hopefully you watched yesterday's video. I keep saying this. We traded down into that orange level that I drew our attention to in yesterday's video. If we look at the 50% level, hit that quarter level, I'm expecting now us to trade up into Tuesday's highs. You can see there's buy side liquidity up there, and start running up towards this range as well. Let's go to the 4 hour, and you'll see our price. What day are we on? Where's Wednesday? Here's Wednesday. We came down into that orange level on the low time frames. I'll show you what level that is. Beautifully came off, grabbed those buy stops just as anticipated. And remember, we still haven't filled in this fair value gap, so I'm anticipating price to want to start to push higher and run higher. I'm looking at this bearish order block as a potential draw on liquidity as well, moving into the new day. So that should be interesting to say the least. If we go to the 1 hour, you'll see this buy side liquidity that we just about tagged it again. So we're just kind of testing that level right now, and moving into the new day again. Well, before we get to that, this is the orange level I was talking about. We found support on that just as anticipated, and we traded higher, right? So now I'm simply going to be looking at this level. I want to be, preferably this level will continue to provide the support price needs, because I don't really want to see price come back down here, especially not below this big bullish order block we have here on the 1 hour. So I'm looking at this bullish order block to continue to provide the support that we're seeing. And again, like I said, price may not need to do that London sweep. We may not need to do the Judas swing. We may just continue to trade higher as soon as we open, running for the buy stops. And like I said, there's a nice big fair value gap right here that price may want to draw to early on in the day. So that's something to consider moving into the new day. And then finally, let's finish on euro. This is a quick video, guys. We'll go on the daily, and you can see this is Wednesday. Beautiful day on euro, guys. Absolutely gorgeous. We traded lower, didn't quite hit that orange level, but the fact that we didn't trade into it shows heavy bullishness. Traded higher and closed above yesterday's high, again all pointing towards higher prices. Took out Monday's high, and now we're starting to trade into this range just as anticipated. So we've just about hit consequent encroachment. So our next target should be the buy side liquidity above there. So I think we can continue to expect bullish movements on euros specifically. In terms of low off day tomorrow, the lowest I want to see trade, the lowest I'm allowing price to trade is going to be 50% level of Tuesday's trading. So if we drop down to the 4 hour, this is the very lowest I expect trade price to go, and it very well could, because if on the 4 hour chart we can actually identify the breaker. We have a low, we have a high, we have a lower low at that orange level I was talking about, and then you can see price is traded higher. So I'm looking at this last up close candle to provide support. So if price wants to come down to that, beautiful opportunity for buyers. Implied fair value gap there as well, where here this is an implied fair value gap. price may want to dip into that, we can look for buys there with an expectation to run for relative equal highs above, let me just get this marked out, above this high and this high, with a potential reach up there. Now price doesn't need to dip this deeply in, and I'm saying that because of the way we traded and closed above this order block. So depending on the time of day, definitely time of day, we very well could only trade down to this 50% level here, and that would be enough for us to then move higher. So I am expecting some kind of sweep below this Wednesday low, below this 4-hour candle low, sorry. But it doesn't need to come all the way down here, preferably not, and that would show bullish price action that can set us up for a nice run up to that buy side liquidity. Let's go to the 1 hour real quick. You can see that midpoint lines up with this bullish order block, even more reason as to why we should be watching that level. In fact, we can probably get rid of these levels here and just watch this black level, to be honest, as a low of the day or to be touched during Asia. And like I said, we may just open and start trading higher straight away depending on how bullish price wants to be. So I'm going to get rid of this because we've already traded through this level. Now our next target is this buy side liquidity. But first, like I said, price is going to want to come lower first to trade higher. So yeah, this week is going absolutely brilliantly. Make sure to smash subscribe, watch the previous day's videos, and you'll see how precise we'd be in this week, guys. And don't forget to join the Discord. So that's going to be everything, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.